It's time once again for That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ, where business becomes show business. Jamie is a leading Tampa Bay real estate agent and featured on the Wall Street Journal's list of top 100 real estate agents in the nation. Jamie invites you to list your home with him today and learn more at tampabayradio.com. Now, live in studio and promoting the entrepreneurial spirit that drives the American economy, your host, Jamie Maloney.
Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to hour number 2 of That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. And thanks for wrapping up the great week here on the program here on this early Friday morning. So I just want to thank all the listeners who make this show possible, and it's been a great ride over the last couple years of doing this radio show. So again, thank you so much to all the listeners and also the show partners, guests, and also my staff who make this show possible each and every morning. On the second half of today's hour, we'll be talking to Dr. Glenn Wilson, Chairman and CEO of TapImmune. That is an immuno-oncology company developing T-cell vaccines for the treatment of breast and ovarian cancer. So looking forward to that discussion, really revolutionizing what's going on in the medical community right now with regard to breast and ovarian cancer. But up first, I have Denise Ondina, along with her son Ian, in studio. Denise is the Executive Director of Compass Brain Injury Center, and you can learn more about her and her organization during the discussion, compassbraininjurycenter.org. So Denise and Ian, welcome to the program today.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting us.
So Denise, this is a 501c3. This is a startup that resulted from a tragic incident which happened to Ian. So take us through the story of what's happened here.
Sure. Well, on March 9th, 2013, we received a call that no parent ever expects to receive. Our son had an ATV accident. He was unconscious and critical at the scene, and he was airlifted to Bayfront Medical Center. He was very, very ill. He has sustained a closed head traumatic brain injury. He was obviously admitted into intensive care, and we were told within the first 3 hours that he was not going to survive that night. Mm-hmm. In the course of 4 months that he was hospitalized, we said goodbye to him at least 5-6 times.
Was he in a coma then for 4 months?
He was in a coma for about 25 days.
Okay.
And in and out of ICU, neuro ICU specifically. And he had about 10 surgeries, 5 of which were craniotomies.
Wow. And so he suffered a traumatic brain injury as a result of the ATV accident.
That's
so
right.
What happened to pull him out? And he's in studio with us today, so he's obviously, doing well. But
yes.
What pulled him out of, the situation then?
Well, no traumatic brain injury is quite the same. There's one thing they usually say, it's each traumatic brain injury is a snowflake. So there's never a straight path. You go 5 steps forwards and 2 steps back. So there was a lot of improvement, and then, we had to go back to square one. So it's a combination of surgery, support, physical therapy, all kinds of support from the family, certainly, grabbing on faith, whatever that may be. And after the 4 months in the hospital, he was home for about a week. And then we transferred him to Shepherd Center in Atlanta for additional 4 months of intensive rehabilitation. So, like I said, it's not a linear process. It's a lot of ups and downs. And, we got from where he had a tracheostomy, a feeding tube. He was in a wheelchair for a while, not talking for 8 months. To the point where one night just the light went on, and that night he just started talking to me, and right before he went to bed, I jumped to his bed and grabbed him by the shirt, and I said, "What did you say to me?" It was quite a moment. Actually, the next day I went to the center and I told them, he awoke last night, and this was probably about, I want to say 6-7 months after the injury. And even the therapist said, "It's okay, Mom, let us evaluate him today and see how he's doing." But to their surprise, they came back 30 minutes later just saying, I can't believe it. He's home. He has arrived.
Now, what areas of the brain were impacted here, and how soon did you realize that you're going to have to kind of relearn some ways of communication with him?
That is very difficult. I don't think the science is quite there to say specifically, at least for us in our case, what areas were impacted. But certainly we noticed in a lot of changes in memory. So his memory was severely impacted. He had antegrade and retrograde amnesia, meaning that he does not remember today anything about his past. It's almost, he calls it Swiss cheese. So some parts are there and some parts are not there.
Did he remember the accident? Did he remember
No.
who he was when he...
Not at all.
Did he remember who he was? So he didn't recognize you?
At the hospital, no. Initially, he did not recognize who I was or his dad.
Describe to me as a mother what that must have been like when your son comes out of, this type of situation, and you realize, okay, he's great, but then he doesn't even recognize you.
Well, I think because he was so close to you see, I kind of said to myself, I'm not going to shed a tear on this one, but it's
No,
hard.
it's okay. No, I understand. It's definitely a situation here that was, very difficult to get through and everything, but it led to a very positive event
Yes.
with what you're doing through others, through the 501c3, the nonprofit organization. But,
That's
just
right.
tell me a little bit about, how you recovered and to get to where you are today.
Well, when I think the fact that he didn't recognize us initially, I think was not as important as we were expecting him to survive the next day, if that makes sense, because we didn't know what else would be a complication of his injury and if he was going to be in surgery the following week. So just to have him awake, just that first move of his finger when they asked him, okay, give us some thumbs up if you can hear us. That for us was probably the most amazing moment. It was the time where, he actually realized that he was there, and he was able to connect with the outer world. He did not open his eyes, but he gave us signals by wiggling his toes and giving us thumbs up for a while. Throughout that process, and while we were in the hospital, I have to say the care in, inpatient and outpatient was just incredible. And there are a lot of supports in place for brain injury and caregivers, patients as well as caregivers at the hospital setting when they are a trauma level hospital. The challenge we encountered was when we actually left that cocoon, so to speak, and they told us, okay, it's time to get back to real life.
Okay, so the support systems weren't there anymore, and
There
so you
is
didn't know
a
what
gap.
to do? Okay.
That is correct.
Okay, explain the gap then. What
There
happens?
is a gap in the system where once you leave the post-acute care setting, which is the hospital, there is very little reintegration to the community support, meaning that what do you do when you go home with your loved one, depending on how severe and what are the characteristics of their injury? What do you do to reintegrate to work, to college? In Ian's case, he was just 19 at the time. His social circle, how do you do to just go back to the community and go to the grocery store and just do a shopping list, things like that. Because the brain takes 1 to 2 years, research states for recovery, his awareness progress was in bits and pieces. When he got home, the in-between of those 2 4-month periods, he was not able to recognize his home environment. He was not able to fix himself a sandwich, anything that he actually did prior to the accident was there. So basically it was retraining him all over again. So it was not just learning to walk and learning to eat and learning to speak. It was also, this is your home. This is where you prepare a meal. This is how this is where you live. This is your neighborhood, all of those things.
And it was from that disconnect there that you saw the need in the marketplace, and then you founded Compass Brain Injury Center, the 501c3. Tell me about the mission and the vision then of this organization.
Absolutely. The mission of the organization is to provide the skills and supports necessary to empower independence and improve the quality of life of people impacted by brain injury.
Okay.
And what we hope to accomplish is to add value to the lives of people living with brain injury and improve outcomes for their recovery in the future. Initially, before we got to the point where we decided to do this, I started a support group in Tampa Bay, and initially it started with the name of Boost Group, and it served a younger community of survivors. And then a couple of other groups contacted me, and they said, we would love to merge to your organization, and the group now has grown to 45 members with survivors and caregivers. And the common thread between all of them is that a lot of these people left the hospital and went home. And because those supports were not there as to how to make the connection with college, how to retrain to go back to work, how to prepare your home environment so that it can be conducive to your recovery, they just stayed home. They just did not have that bridge towards independence that's so critical in brain injury.
The support groups then work to assist both the victim and the caregivers too. How often
correct.
Do you have regular meetings? How does this work?
Yes, we meet twice a month. Usually we have a social event or two, and then we meet the fourth Saturday of every month at the Dunedin Mease Hospital from 4 to 5:30. And we have 3 facilitators that share the responsibility to help with the group. And we actually split the group so that caregivers have that opportunity also to share, their questions and be able to just share their experience. And then another 30 minutes for the survivors to just be amongst themselves, almost like a support group of sorts.
Okay. Let me take a break here. Currently in studio with Denise Ondina and her son Ian. Denise is the executive director for the Compass Brain Injury Center. And you can learn more about this at compassbraininjurycenter.org, and we'll talk more about that when we come back from the break. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
How many times have you said to yourself, I wish there was an app for that? Stop wishing and start making the world better. Turn your brilliant idea into a profitable business by using Popcorn apps. Their affordable app design will help get your blue sky idea or proven business to the next level at a fraction of the cost of other developers. They will help you get through all the steps needed to make your thoughts become live. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today.
Teresa Turner is a certified public accountant and the founder of Tax Happens, a boutique-style CPA firm providing small businesses and individuals with hands-on, personalized tax and accounting services. Although we would love to tell you how happy their clients are, we would like you to see for yourself. Tax Happens has 21 Google reviews and a 4.8-star Google rating, 17 Yelp reviews and a 5-star Yelp rating, 38 Facebook reviews and a 4.9-star Facebook rating. What sets Tax Happens apart is number 1, upfront pricing, 2, clear deadlines, 3, personally available year-round, and number 4, a willingness to empower clients to do as much or as little as they desire. Visit taxhappens.com for more information.
Have you ever tried to buy a home for your family only to find out that you don't qualify for a mortgage loan? You thought that after 20 years as a customer of your bank, they would help you when you needed it the most, right? Unfortunately, the banks of today are not the banks of our parents and grandparents, and our relationships with them just don't matter anymore. My name is Frank Cotto, and I'm the president of the Lincoln Lending Group. We all may need a bank, but we also need a Frank, and that's what I'm here to do for you today. Lincoln Lending Group will waive all of your lending fees, which include your mortgage, application fee, your underwriting fee, processing fees, and any bank points. Just call 813-MORTGAGE. You drop the E, and we'll drop the fee.
Tampa Bay weather is a roof killer. That's why when getting your roof done, you want it done right. Hi, I'm Jamie Maloney of That Business Show. When considering a new roof or repair, talk to Westfall Roofing. They've been installing high-quality roofs in Tampa Bay for over 25 years. Get a free, no-obligation estimate by calling 855-99-ROOFING. That's 855-99-ROOFING. Find out what already 15,000 satisfied customers already know. Call now, 855-99-ROOFING. In an age when the good and the better vie for attention, it is the best that stands out. The best of Tampa Bay from Proudly Florida is the love story for the city of Tampa, celebrating success, sharing achievements, a tribute to enterprise and community spirit. Let Proudly Florida showcase your business to your city, your nation, and the world. For more information, email info@proudlyflorida.com and be sure to visit proudlyflorida.com. If you've been following That Business Show on Facebook and Twitter, you may have noticed the quality of some of our images. That's because one of our sponsors is pro photographer Rick Taseda, a member of the Professional Photographers of America. You can view his extensive work by going to his website at ricktaseda.com or call him for an appointment to chat about your photography needs at 813-641-4757. That's 813-641-4757. Rick Taseda Visuals. Call him for your next event or project.
Savvy business owners utilize technology to connect with customers, communicate among teams, and collaborate with partners. Even with advances in technology, you all know it's not infallible. Where do you turn when your technology starts working against you? Who do you depend on to keep your team productive? Don't wait until your technology fails you. Get ahead of the crisis and contact the professionals at Alpha Computing Solutions so they can show you how to keep your technology running smoothly. Visit them online at www.alphacomputing.com.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Delays in Pasco County, southbound along I-75, an accident approaching State Road 54, blocking the right lane. Traffic is backed up to 52. And a wreck reported in Pinellas County along 66th Street, a little north of Bryan-Dairy. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uter-Wick Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by the Foundation for a Better Life.
When Marlon Shirley was 5, he lost his foot. Today, as the world's fastest amputee, he runs the 100 meters in less time than it takes to listen to this. Overcome it. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life.
Today, partly cloudy, hot and humid with a 20% rain chance, high 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78. Tomorrow, a 30% chance of showers, high 92.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Currently in studio with Denise Undina and her son Ian, and Denise is the executive director of the Compass Brain Injury Center. Learn more about this, compassbraininjurycenter.org. So I want to direct the conversation over to Ian here for just a moment. Ian, what was your greatest challenge in returning to life in your community after your accident?
Well, there's a lot of challenges, but the main ones was I had to relearn everything over again. When I first came home, that was a new experience for me. It felt like it wasn't my home. I had to relearn how to do everything over again. I even had to relearn how to make a sandwich, open the fridge, and make a sandwich. I'm looking for a part-time job now, and I tried to return to my work as an AutoCAD technician, but that was too soon, and I wasn't able to succeed at that, so I need to retrain. And then for college, I got to restart college again, and I finished my first 5 classes with all A's.
Wow, congratulations. So any words of wisdom from your experience? What have you learned? What would you like others to know about you?
Well, I never would have expected to obtain a traumatic brain injury. Anyone can obtain one anytime, any place. You just have to love your love. You have to tell the ones that you're in your family and the ones that care about you that you love them, because you're going to need a lot of support and help, and you should always be grateful for all the things that you do have.
Well, very true and very inspirational as well. And yeah, you've got to be willing to know that stuff can change at a moment's notice. Absolutely. So Denise, now the Compass Brain Injury Center, you founded this just within like the last year or so. When did you open the organization?
Well, we're in the very, very early startup, so there's not a facility quite yet. We hope to be central to the 5 local trauma hospitals, which are Tampa General, Bayonet Point, Bayfront. So we are, and Manatee County as well. So we're looking at the Oldsmar area. The Chamber of Commerce of Oldsmar has been very helpful in, supplying us a facility for our board to meet. So right now we're in the planning stages, the fundraising stages, which is critical to the development of the facility. Basically, this facility will serve approximately 250 survivors as well as caregivers, so we're going to have services for both. It works as a day program, so they will come in 9 o'clock in the morning, leave around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and basically decide on 3 different programs: business and vocational rehabilitation, as well as maintenance and horticulture, or culinary arts. So they're rehabilitating functionally through the entire day through different programs. They actually do their own meetings, they do their own leadership, decision-making process, and they work with social workers or team leaders that guide them through the day. The whole idea, again, being that they are able to reintegrate to the community they once knew and familiarize themselves with each other, because I think the other aspect of this is brain injury survivors live a very isolated life once they come home from the hospital. All the friends that were there, because it takes such a long time for recovery, they disappear. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't matter how big your crowd is, people just start, withering away. And I think it's very important to offer that support. Ian had the great opportunity to be in one of these places in Atlanta. There's only 18 of these places in the world. So in Atlanta, it was called Side by Side, and he was able to participate in the business program. And I would credit that in addition to his therapy for his recovery and what you see today. Because he was kind of forced and put in situations where he had to make decisions at this place throughout the day. There are therapists that actually will start from taking you to the pharmacy and make decisions of how do you buy a product, and how to calculate money, and how to do a bank reconciliation. All of those things that we take for granted, we do every day. These people really have to just learn from scratch, and to work with this community side by side requires everybody's help.
Yeah. So any background in doing a nonprofit? So you're learning as you go with this organization?
We are learning as we go. So
who can help you out there in the community right now? Is your board of directors in place? Do you need anybody else?
We have our first meeting coming up in September. Okay. And we've done the business plan, bylaws. So we have all of those things in place. Have our certificate from the Department of Agriculture. So, just the startup, we're at the startup, and we welcome any help, in our startup process.
All right. Well, people out there that can assist an up-and-coming nonprofit organization, here's one for you right here. Denise and Dina and her son Ian, who is the director of the Compass Brain Injury Center. So thank you so much for being in studio today.
Thank you for inviting us.
Ian, congratulations on the recovery. Well done.
You.
And again, learn more about this over at compassbraininjurycenter.org. Coming back from the break, I'll be talking to Dr. Glenn Wilson. He's the chairman and CEO of Tapamune, again, an immuno-oncology company developing T-cell vaccines for the treatment of breast and ovarian cancer. So looking forward to that discussion when we come back from the break. You've been listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Hi, I'm Kelly Ham from Billmeyer Ham Consulting. Did you know that one of the biggest challenges that leaders face is getting their employees to be engaged, motivated, and producing amazing business results? At Billmeyer Ham Consulting, we'll help you transform your workforce culture from one that might be underperforming, maybe mediocre, to achieving amazing business results. You see, we realize that your workforce culture is equally as important as your business plan and your business strategy. The two must be aligned in order for you to reach your desired business and financial goals.
Carol,
hey Jim.
I just got this plan that could really help with our process here.
Okay, why don't you just have a seat and let's go over it.
Let us help you transform your workforce culture by leveraging your most important assets, your people. I want to know what's going on in your organization. Let us help you transform your workforce culture. Let's have a conversation.
I feel guilty that I can't always be there when Mom feels stuck at home. She was always there for us. But now she can't get out, and I'm not always available to take her places. Someone else needs to help her get around. Then I learned about Home Instead. Now Mom can do what she enjoys because her personal caregiver is there, and I can just be a daughter again.
Are you struggling to care for your loved one? We can help. Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
Injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Unbound. In places around the world, there are elders who long for community, connection, and the opportunity to live with greater dignity. Sponsor an elder through Unbound and help bring a brighter tomorrow to one person who has helped us all build a better world. Meet one at unbound.org.
1250 winds, Weather Center forecast. Temperatures today nearing the mid-90s. Rain chance higher at 40% under partly sunny skies. Overnight low nearing 80 degrees. Forecast remaining the same for Saturday. Back closer to 90 on Sunday, but looking at a higher rain chance near 50-60%. Tonight, Storm football, 7 o'clock airtime, 7:30 kickoff. War on I-4, Storm versus the Predators. Here on Impact Radio, 1250 winds.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And welcome back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 on Tampa Bay's 1250 Wins WHNZ. Also, podcasts available over on iTunes, and you can listen anywhere in the world on the iHeartRadio app on the smartphone as well. Also, keep in mind the show's in partnership with Tampa Bay business owners, so I'd like to extend an invitation to all the area business owners to visit tbbo.org and learn about the different events that go on each and every month. And we got a lot of them going on. The next big event going on is going to be on July 21st. It's going to be called Christmas in July with a taste of tequila from our sponsor, Mr. Margarita, where they bring the party to you. So it's going to be a large business social. We expect 500 to 600 people in attendance. There are some vendor booths and sponsorship still available, but they are going quickly, so there's not too much of that left out there. But we still have plenty of tickets available, and you can pick those up for $29 over at tbbo.org/CIJ. Time to bring in my next guest for the program. I have Dr. Glenn Wilson, Chairman and CEO of Tapamune, and he is based up in Jacksonville, but visiting today down here in Tampa today. So, Dr. Wilson, welcome to the program today.
Thanks, Jamie. Thanks for the invitation.
So, Tapamune, tell us about the mission and what this is.
Well, Tapamune is an immuno-oncology company, and we're basically trying to train the human immune system to recognize specific cancers. The human immune system is the biggest pharmaceutical production factory anywhere.
And that's the problem with cancer, is the body just does not recognize the cancer cells, and so they go unabated and they keep growing, and so that's cancer in a nutshell. Am I correct?
No, absolutely. Tumor cells have a number of ways of avoiding the immune system. We now know that one of the mechanisms is to encourage the production of what are called T regulatory cells, which essentially put the brakes on the immune system to prevent autoimmune disease. We now have ways of dealing with those type of problems. You've probably seen all the publicity and the ads for checkpoint inhibitors, like Opdivo.
Yeah,
it's on the television almost every night.
Yes,
they can take the brakes off, but what we're doing is we're actually stimulating the foot soldiers of the immune system, the T cells, to go and seek cancer cells and destroy them.
Now, your T-cell vaccines here is for the treatment of breast and ovarian cancer. To me, cancer is a general term, but does this not work with other forms of cancer? And what are the differences then with the other cancers that is not impacted by this drug?
The key thing is to have a signal, and so our vaccines, provide the immune system with the recognition of a signal. Two vaccines we have. One is called HER2/neu. which is a well-known signal on HER2 breast cancer cells. The other is the signal is folate receptor alpha, which is present on most ovarian cancer cells, triple-negative breast cancer cells, but also non-small cell lung cancer cells.
Okay, so where is this at in the development process? Is this still in clinical trials, and what type of resistance or research is the research getting, I should say?
Well, both vaccines have finished phase 1. Both were well tolerated and safe, and importantly, they showed that over 90% of the patients that were treated showed robust immune responses against the vaccines. That was very exciting. That was a stimulus to put these into phase 2 clinical testing, where we're looking at efficacy. We're looking at responses. And we have multiple phase 2 trials that are starting. Our own trial in triple-negative breast cancer has already started. We've treated the first patient. And interestingly, one of our groups that we collaborate with is an advocacy group in Jacksonville called 26.2 for Donna. We've been working with them, and we did a profile of some breast cancer survivors, and one of those survivors we know is going into our trial.
Wow, incredible.
So that's interesting.
Now, you call this a vaccine, and the way I understand a vaccine is something that you give to somebody to prevent it from occurring. Is that the situation here? Can somebody that currently has breast or ovarian cancer then benefit from this?
Well, it's a vaccine in the sense that it stimulates the immune system to recognize something and deal with it. But in the beginning, it's a therapeutic vaccine. That's how it will be used. But our hope is, our vision for the future is it could be used as a prophylactic vaccine.
So what's the history of Tapamune then? Who came up with this vaccine? How much research and background went into Tapamune to get it to where it is today?
Well, Tapamune is a fairly old company. It's a public company. It started in Vancouver, British Columbia. I was in Seattle, and I went onto the board of the company, and it needed a lot of work. And I started looking for technologies that could be put into the clinic fairly quickly. And we found those technologies at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester. And those technologies that are in the clinic now, we've licensed. So we have the business license to commercialize those technologies. So a lot of what we're doing came from the Mayo Clinic and from our collaborator at the Mayo Clinic, Dr. Keith Knudsen, who's at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville. He was responsible for the design of the vaccines, and the design was fairly unique. I think that's why we're seeing such a good response in the patients we've already treated, at least an immune response.
So when did this first go into testing? I'm always amazed about how long it takes to get a drug from, hey, we discovered, to actually getting it into production. What's been the timeline on this?
The first clinical trials on this started about 2012.
2012, and how soon before we would possibly see this on the marketplace for a drug for cancer patients?
If you look at the marketplace, you're looking probably 7 to 10 years.
Still 7 to 10 years from today, or 7 to 10 years from 2012?
7 to 10 from today.
Wow. And so why so much regulation? I've always said, if you're a patient suffering, I would volunteer for whatever. Why do they not allow that?
Let me give you the example of one of the big trials we're doing. We have a trial that's starting in triple-negative breast cancer at the Mayo Clinic in Jacksonville, starting later this year. It's a 280-patient study. It was funded. The money for this trial is provided by the U.S. Department of Defense. That was a huge validation of what we were doing, for them to put that type of money into the Mayo Clinic. That trial, it's what's called a double-blinded placebo-controlled trial. So the clock on that trial starts ticking when the last patient has been treated.
Wow.
So 280 patient takes at least a year, probably longer, to recruit fully. The trial lasts for 3 years to look at outcomes, and then you report out. So it's a 4 to 5 year trial.
Mm-hmm. And so many of those patients are just getting basically a sugar pill too, correct? I mean, is there any type of counseling that goes on with these patients when they're in these trials? Because a lot of them probably have their hopes up. Hey, I'm getting this, revolutionary, treatment here, but some of them know that I'm just getting, a sugar pill. How does that? What goes into that?
Well, each patient that's recruited for the trial sits down with the clinician for the trial, and gets that information. Look, this is what the trial does. You're not going to know what you get. You don't know whether you're going to get the placebo or whether you're going to get the real drug.
Right. But is there a counseling process that they've got to go through? Because I would have my hopes up, but then again, in the back of your mind, you're like, man, I might just be getting the placebo.
I mean, that initial interview is essentially the counseling process.
So that's it right there.
Right. But I think there's some trials we're doing now that are smaller trials. Our own trial is open label, so we can look at the results as we go along. We're doing a combination trial in ovarian cancer with our lead product, which is TPIV 200. That's being done at Memorial Sloan Kettering in New York. And it's being done in collaboration with pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. So what we're doing, we talked about the checkpoint inhibitors. We're combining our vaccine with their checkpoint inhibitor to look at the outcomes. And in that particular study, all the patients are getting the combination.
And you said you're seeing so far 90% success or 90% improvement or some type of positivity in 90% of the cases?
We've seen that 90% of the patients have responded to the vaccine with immune responses. That's different than saying their tumor's been shrunk or they've
right. You're seeing that some type of positive response in 90% of the cases. And what can you attest to 10% that are not responding to? Is it just the unknowns in the medical community? You don't know why the 10% do not respond?
It's difficult. It's difficult to know why they don't respond. I mean, 90% response rate is huge. I mean, if you look at what clinicians expect from phase 1 studies, if they see a 40% response rate there, they say that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen 90%. Now, one of the key things with the design of the vaccine was to use the vaccine or design the vaccine to cover the whole population genetics. You know, each one of us in this room has different genetics for our immune system. That's why transplantation, the matching is such an issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about the immune system genetics. So what we did was select parts of our vaccine or components of our vaccine that could cover different patient populations. So it was 85 to 90%, so maybe that's not surprising why we've seen that response.
Now, have you been involved in other clinical trials with other drugs that have made it to the marketplace? And what do you see for these vaccines in the 7 to 8 years? Do you think these will make it to the marketplace?
I've been involved in a number of trials, or peripherally involved, not as leader of the trial, but in the pharmaceutical industry. That includes trials on some billion-dollar products. The answer is you've got to be very conservative. I mean, it's a large risk. All you can do is look at it stage by stage and say, this is what we would expected. This is a signal for moving further. And that's what we've done. We saw great response in phase 1. We go into phase 2. As we've seen with our collaborators at either AstraZeneca or Department of Defense, there's a huge amount of support for what we're doing. And so again, that encourages us.
No.
So we think we're very optimistic about the progress of this vaccine through the clinic.
Now, where can people follow information on these trials? Where can they, if they just go to tapimmune.com, are you keeping people up to date on these trials? But where can people that are impacted by these diseases go to learn more information also?
Well, you can go to our website, tapimmune.com, or they can go to, there's a clinical trials website, which is called clinicaltrials.gov. And you just type in...
You can follow anything over there.
Just type in TAPimmune. You'll see the trials we're involved in.
So people can keep up on any clinical trials through clinicaltrials.gov then?
This is the official FDA website.
Okay. I wasn't even familiar with that. I figured something was out there like that, so I just learned something myself, clinicaltrials.gov. Let me take a break here. Currently talking to Dr. Glenn Wilson. He is the chairman and CEO of TAPimmune, an immuno-oncology company developing T-cell vaccines for the treatment of breast and ovarian cancer. So we've got a little bit more when we come back from the break with him. You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.
Attention medical professionals. Have you heard that Tampa Bay will become the first certified wellness district in the country? Thanks to Jeff Fennick's revitalization of Channelside, the Dr. Whisperer wants to streamline your efforts in preparation. So when you're ready to ignite your practice, use the Dr. Whisperer's public relations expertise to spread the word. Use the Dr. Whisperer to motivate your staff. And use the Dr. Whisperer to recruit and secure leaders within your practice. Call the Dr. Whisperer today at 727-420-2481 or visit thedrwhisperer.com where they write your prescription for success.
Who doesn't have a smartphone these days? And of course, there's an app for everything. Well, almost everything. That's why the folks at Popcorn Apps started developing mobile applications. They saw people like you with genius ideas, unable to make those thoughts a reality. They develop applications for tens of thousands of dollars less than you'll find anywhere else, and will turn your idea into a reality in a matter of just a few months. Think you're not ready? Think again. They are your one-stop shop for mobile application development. See them at popcornapps.com with a K in popcorn, or call them at 727-415-6705 for your free consultation and pop your kernel of an idea into $1 million business and a world changer starting today. What's up, business rock stars? Are you ready to bring out the CEO in you? Join Julianne Nichols, CEO of Focus on You Strategy, every other Friday on That Business Show. She'll be talking with other chief entrepreneurial officers about how they grew their businesses. Remember, you could join the conversation at Focus on You Strategies Focus Fridays Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. That's facebook.com/groups/Focus Fridays. Be the CEO of you. Did you know the biggest challenge business leaders face today is creating an engaged and productive workforce culture? Bill Meyer Ham Consulting wants to help you solve this challenge. They will help you transform your workforce culture to produce amazing business results. Call Bill Meyer Ham Consulting at 941-201-4650 today or visit BillMeyerHam.com. That's BillMeyerHam.com. Have a conversation. Are you in need of new flooring or ready to tackle that home remodeling project? Then contact Yeager & Company Incorporated, a family-owned, state-certified general contracting business with over 70 years of experience and the recipient of the Angie's List Super Service Award for the last 8 years in multiple categories. Yeager & Company comes to you with their shop-at-home flooring sales service, and their hardwood flooring refinishing is the very best in the Bay. Kitchen and bath design featuring American-made, well-born cabinets, and all work is done by employees, not subcontractors. Learn more at YeagerFlooring.com.
I knew Mom wanted to stay at home. It's the center of her family, her life. But helping Mom stay in her home while managing mine was just too much. Honestly, it wasn't just about me. Mom didn't want me to be her caretaker. She wanted me to be her daughter. I felt so alone until I found out about Home Instead Senior Care. When we met the people at Home Instead, we just knew they were different. The experience was personal. And most importantly, for Mom and me, I get to be her daughter again.
Home Instead Senior Care. To us, it's personal.
At Vein 911, we will help you feel great again. Do you have restless legs, night leg cramps, or ankle swelling? Restless legs, cramping, swelling, and tired heavy legs are often symptoms of hidden vein disease. You do not have to have visible bulging veins to have the symptoms of vein disease. The vein care specialists at Vein 911 are uniquely qualified to evaluate and treat your veins. Are you unhappy with your previous vein treatment? Vein 911 succeeds where others fail. Call Vein 911 today at 855-VEIN-911. That's 855-834-6911 to book your free consultation. Vein 911. We will help you feel great again.
From the RP Funding Traffic Network.
Delays westbound I-4 approaching 275. Reports of an accident just before the interchange. Also remaining very slow in Pasco County, southbound I-75 with an earlier wreck south of State Road 52. And watch out for an accident in Pinellas County, slowing things down along 66th Street, a little north of Bryan Dairy. See traffic problems? Call the injury firm of Abrahamson and Uterwick, Hillsborough Traffic Tip Line at 866-545-9595.
This report is brought to you by Mothers Against Drunk Driving.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. MAD is here to help. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org. That's MADD.org.
Today, partly cloudy, hot and humid with a 20% rain chance, high 92. Tonight, partly cloudy, low 78. Tomorrow, a 30% chance of showers, high 92.
You're listening to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney on 1250 Wins WHNZ. Missed a show? Then head over to TampaBayRadio.com, where all shows are available on demand. Once again, here's your host, Jamie Maloney.
And we're back to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business. Wrapping up another great week here of That Business Show. Been doing this 6 weeks, 7 weeks now for 2 hours a day. Started all the way back in February of 2015 at 8 o'clock. And so, again, just thank you all the listeners, partners, guests, and the staff that make this show possible each and every day. It's been a lot of fun doing this program and talking to the different leaders in our community. Currently talking to Dr. Glenn Wilson, Chairman and CEO of Tapamune, and this is an immuno-oncology company developing T-cell vaccines for the treatment of breast and ovarian cancer. And Dr. Wilson, this is a personal venture for you as well, because you've lost family members to breast and ovarian cancer, you've mentioned. Tell us a little bit about this.
No, absolutely. You know, I lost my wife to breast cancer some years back, and my mother to ovarian cancer. So it's crazy that we are working on promising technologies for both indications.
Yeah.
But you know, one of the interesting things, it was very poignant, but it's interesting at the same time. When I first sat down with our collaborator at the Mayo Clinic, Keith Knudsen, and we were sharing stories of where this could go to, and he was describing his vision of women who presented the earliest stage of what could become breast cancer. It's called DCIS, ductal carcinoma in situ, that this would be a perfect stage for a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
And he was describing my wife, because a lot of those patients don't go on to develop breast cancer. There's a certain proportion of them that are disease-free for 10 years and then suddenly relapse.
Right.
So he was describing my wife's story.
Wow. So, and you're a trained chemist, and you've worked in business for a number of years. So was that your inspiration to get involved with Tapamune at that point, or were you already involved with the company? How did you get involved in this trial then?
I'd already been involved. I saw, this was 8 or 9 years back, I saw an opportunity here. I was intrigued by the science the initial science of the company. It's a little different now, but the science of developing vaccines to treat cancer and cancer cells being able to switch off the immune system, and how do you overcome that? So the science intrigued me at a time when we weren't talking about immunotherapy or immuno-oncology. And so I went on the board of the company. The company needed a lot of work to make it a real company. It's often the case.
Mm-hmm.
You get brilliant science, but there's no company. And so we had to turn it around. We did that by licensing the technologies from the Mayo Clinic that we have now, working closely with them, doing our clinical trials there, and it's been a great collaboration.
So what's on the marketplace now that's standard for breast and ovarian cancer? And it's just strictly treatments. There are no preventative vaccines or anything like what you're trying to roll out now, right? What's just the standard care and procedure for this type of stuff now?
Well, if you take HER2-neu breast cancer, which is about 30% of all breast cancer patients, the standard of care is a drug called Herceptin from Roche Genentech. And it's actually a monoclonal antibody. The target is the HER2-neu, the same target that we have for the vaccine. It can only treat about 20% of the population that have that target. It requires a high density of the receptor for it to work. But it's a $6 billion a year drug for treating 20% of the patients.
Wow.
So there's a great opportunity for that patient population.
Mm-hmm.
In ovarian cancer, there aren't too many treatments other than the conventional surgery and chemotherapy, such as platinum. Now, what we have received from the FDA is what's called Fast Track designation for our TPIV200 in ovarian cancer. And what we're going to be doing later this year is starting a new trial where we look at patients that have been treated with standard chemotherapy, platinum. They've been responding to that. Then we add the vaccine on top, and we expect it to do much better.
Now, this vaccine, again, affects breast and ovarian cancer, and I'm still just not 100% understanding why it only affects, if cancer is just the ability or is just cells that just are not getting the communication to turn themselves off, to quit replicating, what makes breast different from ovarian, different from lung cancer? Could we ever get to a drug that affects just any type of cancer?
You know, that's essentially what chemotherapy does. I mean, chemotherapy is like the, the hammer to crack the walnut, but it has so many side effects. What we're doing is much more specific. We're identifying signals on certain cancers. So our TPIV 200 recognizes folate receptor alpha on triple-negative breast, ovarian, and non-small cell lung cancer. The key thing is that over 85% of those tumor cells display those signals. And in many cases, the overexpression is over 100-fold overexpressed. So it's a very good signal. So it's a signal that, if you like, the foot soldiers of the immune system can see very clearly.
Yeah, and you're just, and to make this simple for the masses, you're just trying to mark the cells that the immune system needs to say, hey, these are the invaders, get them out of here. And that's essentially what you're doing with these vaccines, right?
That's the first step. The second step is to see how well we can stimulate that immune system. One of the components we think is already there. For long-term use of vaccines, you need what are called T memory cells to be able to recognize tumor cells when they arise. This is very, very important for metastatic disease, because solid tumors these days don't kill you. It's the metastasis, the cells that have sloughed off and gone to distant parts in the body. Our vaccine can treat those type of cells or recognize those type of cells.
So do you think we'll see a cure for cancer completely 100% anytime in the next century, or how far has cancer research come just in your time in the business?
Oh, I will never say whether there's a cure for cancer, because there's so many different types of cancer. Every individual is different. What I do think, though, is that we can see cancer becoming a manageable disease through the new advances, including the types of things we're working on, just like treatment of HIV/AIDS was back in the 80s, where initially it was a death sentence. Now it's a manageable disease.
All right. Good discussion, and we wish you the best of luck at Tapamune. Dr. Glenn Wilson, Chairman and CEO, thank you so much for being in studio
Thanks
today.
a lot, Jamie.
And again, you can learn more about them over at tapamune.com. I want to thank also my 8 o'clock guests, Denise and Ian Undina, Executive Director at Compass Brain Injury Center, and then learn more about them at compassbraininjurycenter.org. I want to wish everybody a great weekend. Be sure to tune in again Monday morning at 7 a.m. to That Business Show with Jamie Maloney, where business becomes show business.